Johnson, and this is our third installment in our series about manding. Please go watch the first two videos if you haven't already, but here's a quick review. A mand is a communication that makes it clear what a person wants or needs. Different ways people mand include sounds or words, gestures or sign language, pictures, or an electronic device. The three parts to a mand are motivation, the mand itself, and the specific reinforcer. When you're choosing the first mands to teach, you want to be sure that the item is specific, easy to deliver, short in duration, and present in your child's daily life. And most importantly, it's got to be motivating for your child. So you've got your teaching area free of distraction. You've got the item that you want to teach close by. Now we're just going to look at a simple teaching sequence. The example I'm going to use today is going to be focused around spoken sounds and words, but a similar procedure can be used for other forms of mands. Also, there are variations on this procedure, so if your behavior analyst does it a little bit differently, that's completely fine. I'm just giving you sort of a generic way to do it, but there are lots of little tweaks that can be done depending on the circumstances. Step 1, look for motivation. Step 2, present the item out of reach. Step 3, prompt a response. Step 4, for a correct mand, give the item immediately. Step 5, for an incorrect mand, wait a few seconds and then begin again. Let's look at each step one by one. Step 1, look for the motivation. Before you try to teach, you want to be sure that your child really wants the item that you're teaching them to ask for. If your child doesn't seem interested in the item, don't try to teach manding with it. Instead, see what they are interested in, or you can try to build motivation for a different item. A couple ways that you can boost motivation. One thing is you can play with the item yourself, so making it look super fun. You can also just give them a little taste of it. So if you're teaching them a mand for a food item, you can give them a little bit to try, or if you're using a toy like this ball, you could just give it to them and let them play with it for a few seconds and get them excited about it. So again, using this ball as an example, I might just start playing with it and acting excited and looking over to see signs of motivation. And when I start to see my kiddo getting interested, then I can move on to step 2. Step 2, present the item out of reach. You want to make it clear that the item's available and that you're waiting for them to mand. So you can just hold it up and wait. You want to keep it out of reach so that they need to mand to get the item. And also remember that it doesn't have to be an item. You don't have to use a thing. You can also use other activities like hugs or tickles or dancing. And if you're working on these types of activities and interactions, there's no object to present. You would just give them a little taste of the fun interaction and then step back for a second and wait for them to mand for you to continue. Step 3. If your child has not yet asked for the item after you have held it up in step 2, you'll give a prompt for the name of the item and wait for them to respond. These prompts are meant to give your child a model of the mand. So for this example, I'm just going to say the name of the item. Ball. If they don't respond, you can wait a few seconds and repeat the prompt. But don't repeat the prompt more than a few times if your child isn't responding. If you think that the name of the item is too long for your child to say, then you might want to start with a shorter version. For example, you might prompt B instead of ball. Remember, this is called an approximation. Over time, you can work with your child to get them to say the whole word, but starting with an approximation is very common. Step 4. Now, if your child attempts to respond to the prompt, for instance, they say ball, or they say B, or whatever sound is their best approximation, you are going to give that ball to them immediately. Don't hesitate at all. Get it into their hands right away. This is what's going to teach them that manding works. Step 5. Now we'll talk about how to handle incorrect responses. Your child's response should be considered incorrect only if they don't mand, they try to mand but they don't say the correct sounds, or if they use challenging behavior while they mand. When there's an incorrect response, you don't want to deliver the item to them, and you'll want to wait a few seconds before starting the procedure over again from the beginning. I hope this series has helped you to understand a little bit more about manding, why it's so important, and how to go about teaching. As always, please go to your own behavior analyst for individualized recommendations for your own child. Thanks for taking the time to watch our YouTube videos, and let us know in the comments if there's something that you'd like to see specifically.